This is the Double Edge Factor, where high performance meets peace of mind and faith meets focus. I am your host, Rob Manuel, and peace and blessings unto you. Before we get going, be sure to like, follow, and hit that subscribe button, because the more positive interactions you put out there, the more they push this podcast to people who've never heard it before, which, of course, will allow us to grow, reach new ears, and have a greater impact on more people around the world. And if you want 2026 to be the year that you perform and live at your highest level, head on over to rodmanuel.com. That is RODMANUEL.com. Join that email list and remember to like, follow, and subscribe. Last week, we talked about a man who leads must first lead himself. And the double-edged message was, if you want to lead others with strength and integrity, start by mastering your own habits, emotions, and discipline. The man who governs himself becomes a man others can trust. So, this week, let's get into being strong in public, but neglecting yourself in private. We've created a culture where appearance equals strength. Appearance equals confidence, control, decisiveness. But behind the scenes, it's looking like 5 hours of sleep or less, caffeine dependency, alcohol just to unwind, no consistent movement or exercise, and a lot of elevated stress. That, my friends, is not strength. That is survival mode dressed in professionalism. You can look composed while your nervous system is dysregulated. You can command a room while your blood pressure is climbing. You can close those deals while your hormones are steadily declining. See, public image is not private stability. And eventually, the body exposes what pride conceals. Okay, let's talk physiology for just a second here. Chronic stress elevates cortisol. Cortisol is not necessarily bad, it's actually necessary. But chronically elevated cortisol, what it does is it suppresses your testosterone. It increases your visceral fat. It disrupts your sleep cycle, elevates your blood pressure, and then it can also impair your recovery. And you cannot be chronically stressed and hormonally optimized. It just doesn't work that way. You can't build sustainable high performance while ignoring that recovery. So, if you're somebody that you're bragging about being tired and you're bragging about mismanagement is what you're doing. You see, exhaustion is not a badge of honor. It's actually a signal. There are several things that happen when you're dysregulated. Your patience declines. Your listening weakens. Your reactivity increases. And not only that, your family feels it. Your team feels it. Your decisions reflect it, right? You see, men think neglect only affects them, but it doesn't. Your children, they inherit those habits that they see. Your spouses absorb that mood that you have, and your teams reflect leadership's energy. So your neglect, it just multiplies, but so does your discipline. If you regulate yourself, you stabilize others. Elijah experienced a public miracle. Then what happened? He immediately collapsed in fear and exhaustion. So he ran. He isolated himself. He even asked to die. But God's response was not condemnation. What did he give him? He gave him rest. He gave him food. And you know what? He gave him rest again. You see, even powerful men require restoration. I want you to ask yourself honestly, are you disciplined or just durable? Durability can mask damage. So, this is my challenge for you this week. Protect yourself and try to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. Eliminate one unnecessary stressor. Reduce that alcohol intake. And just like last week, lift 2 to 3 times. Finally, take a 20-minute walk if you can. And here is the double-edged message of the day. Looking composed, productive, and respected means nothing if your body, mind, and soul are quietly deteriorating behind the scenes. Private neglect will eventually expose itself in public consequences. That is it for today. If this episode added value, clarity, or even one push you needed, share it. Share it with someone who really needs to hear it. The only way we grow this podcast is when you guys share it. The more you share, the greater impact you can have, or we can have, around the world. And if you want 2026 to be the year that you perform and live at your highest level, head on over to rodmanuel.com. That's RODMANUEL.com, where you will find resources, coaching tools, and more to help you live, lead, and perform at your highest level. You can also order a copy of my latest book, Faith on Demand, which is also available on Amazon. And you will also have access to all other exclusive content. And as I always say, be intentional with your words, be intentional with your thoughts, and be intentional with your actions. And always find a way to be a blessing to someone else today.